All right. Welcome back to the Melvin Hall podcast. I'm your host, Melvin Hall. And today things will be a little bit different. I broke my camera on my phone, unfortunately, so we will be doing a voice podcast today. Just wanted to go ahead and get into it. Today we will be talking about the impact of Airbnb and how similar companies, what their impact is on the housing market and the local population. My first point that I want to bring up is that the impact of Airbnb and similar companies, they are rising rental prices. There are short-term rentals often that drive up rental costs and is making houses less affordable for local residents. As property owners switch to short-term leasing, there are fewer long-term rental options that are usually available, and this could increase the competition and higher prices. One of the disadvantages that could be talked about is the impact that Airbnb and local rental companies, what kind of impact they have on local businesses. So for Airbnb, tourism is a very, very huge benefit, and it could benefit local businesses. However, a lot of tourists may prefer more chain stores or look for more things that they're used to or things that they want to try that have bigger names than locally owned enterprises. However, this could be a negative impact for those locally owned enterprises and the revenue that they're making. Also with this, there can be a strain on local services. That will bring me to my final point for this first topic, the strain on local services. With a lot of tourists coming around, it can overwhelm local places, such as the transportation that regulars use or the emergency services. Sometimes the tourists can end up turning places where people live and the neighborhoods around, it could turn into tourist hotspots, or it can increase traffic, a lot of noise pollution, and a lot of pollution just in general to the environment. This isn't fair for the people who are regulars in the community who have grown up knowing these places to be something that they hold close to their hearts, and now people get to just come in and change it and use it for the way that they see fit in their opinion. So moving right along to the second topic is, what should the local governments do to counter the impacts of Airbnb? I also have 3 points for this one, and I'm going to start with the first point being Airbnb should engage more with the community. They should want to hear feedback from the community that's around them. They should hold the communities to a high standard of where they are. It should involve the residents in discussions about short-term rentals. It can help ensure that regulations reflect the concerns and the needs of the local public and the local population. And I feel like just being engaged in the community is the main way to get the revenue that you need, because the more consumers you have, the more revenue that you will end up with. My second point that I would like to make is also that they should establish clear regulations. It would be much easier for the local community if the local governments would implement regulations for a short-term rental. I feel that this would be able to help with the balance between tourism and community needs. I feel like it will be less clashing, and it will be something that you would have to register through the city. And it would be something that's required to help with the difference between tourism and community, and to make sure that everyone gets to live comfortably and coexist together. One of my biggest points that I want to make is that Airbnb should be able to support affordable housing initiatives. I feel that it can get very expensive when it comes to Airbnb and other communities like that. I feel like if you're prioritizing affordable housing and it's affordable housing development, it can help with the negative impacts of the short-term rentals. I feel like partnering with like nonprofits or some type of company to create more affordable options is very crucial for the community. I feel that this would bring community stability. I feel like it will give the community an option to come together. I also feel like this would be an amazing opportunity for tourists to be able to partake in the community in a respectful way that doesn't embarge on what the community stands for and what the people who are already citizens of that community, not bothering what they already have grown up on or what they know is right in front of them and around them. It's not really bothering what they're used to. It's more of coming together rather than being ran over by tourists. I feel that local governments have a duty to protect their residents, and they have to maintain the integrity of their neighborhoods. Investing in affordable housing initiatives, it brings the larger housing crisis. It intensifies it by rising the rise of short-term rentals, and it will give like a balanced approach that supports the growth for both the visitors and the tourists and also the locals in the community that is already there. Once again, guys, that's all I got. Thank y'all so much for listening to me. I'm so sorry about the camera. However, I still want to go ahead and get this in. Thank you so much for coming and listening to me. Once again, I'm your host, Melvin Hall. This is the Melvin Hall Podcast, and I hope to see you again soon. All right. Welcome back to the Melvin Hall Podcast. I'm your host, Melvin Hall. And today, things will be a little bit different. I broke my camera on my phone, unfortunately, so we will be doing a voice podcast